Hey guys, welcome to another episode of GM Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at strategies in a contract league. So let's get it going. So, strategies for a contract league, they're going to be pretty unique compared to your regular formats. Some nuances you're going to have to keep in mind. And I think the first thing you're going to want to consider for building a contract league is the type of build your roster is going to be. So I've got three categories for that. I've got veteran heavy, I've got balanced, and I've got rookie heavy. So an example of I guess you could say veteran heavy team would be this one over here. As you can see, the vast majority of his players are on is on a veteran contract, and you can see also that they're pretty expensive. You got your Barkley at 30, Taylor 32. You got Nico and Brown here at 28. Now they're expensive because they were bid on in free agency, so obviously everyone was bidding on them, and drives up the price. But you know what? They're worth it. These guys are known commodities. They score the most points. And this guy's team here is pretty strong, man. He's made the finals the last 4 years, so he obviously knows what he's doing. Curious to see what he's going to do in 2026, though, but I'm not too worried about him. So now I'll show you an example of a balanced league. This was my team that I won it all last year. And as you can see, I got some rookie contracts, I've got some RFAs with some bargain deals, and I've also got a bunch of expensive UFAs. So I got Jacobs, I got Lamb, Kelsey here. They're pretty expensive, but they're going to score me a bunch of points, and I would consider this a nice balanced team, and I know it works because I won it all. So I like that build. And another build is the rookie heavy. And I'll show you an example of that. I've been rebuilding in this league for a couple of years now, so I've accumulated a bunch of rookie picks. As you can see, the vast majority of my contracts are rookie. I've got a couple RFAs, and then I've got some really expensive UFAs, but these are studs. So this is, I think, might be one of the better strategies actually that I think about it, because you get your studs, they're expensive, but you're going to secure them because no one else can afford to pay this amount. And then you fill out the rest of your roster with rookie deals or like bargain deals, like $5 on like for like $1 type of deal there. I still got some more rookies that I can promote, and I've also got this year's draft class coming in, so I'm gonna have a fair amount of play. If I have to trade for another veteran, I could do that. I got all the capital in the world to go make a move. And like I said, I think there's only 2, 3 teams in this league that I think can compete with me this year. So I'm interested to see, barring any injuries, I think I could take it. So after you decide what type of build you want to do, you're going to want to maybe allocate a percentage of your salary cap per position. Now, I would say this is more of like a guideline, not a rule. Obviously, you're going to have to pivot when it makes sense. So, like in this league, it's going to obviously matter for your format and type of scoring that you have. This particular league, let's say I would allocate 40% for quarterbacks, maybe 25-30% for receivers, 25-30% for running backs, and then the remainder on tight ends. It's like I said, it's not a rule, but maybe a guideline, give you a decent direction on how you want to build your team. And now the next thing you have to consider is identifying players that are specifically good for contract leagues. Now, when I say that, it's if you're going to sign someone to a 5-year deal, you better make sure that they're going to be good for 5 years. There's been too many times where I've seen owners make 5-year contract offers, and then after 2 years, the player's like nowhere near where he was. He's either just constantly injured, retired, or just relished to backup duty. There's one guy who signed, I think it was Alexander Madison for 5 years at $15. That's a decent sized contract, and now the guy's a backup, and he's got him again on his team for 4 more years. If he cuts him, that's a $7 dead cap per year, so that's a big penalty to take. It kills your team when you do something like that. So you got to be very, very conscious when you make these contract offers. Even let's say like a player like I signed Kelsey in one of my leagues for $25 for 5 years. Now this was before he had his drop off last year, obviously. And if this guy keeps playing, I got a super expensive player that isn't producing for the amount of salary he's making. So he's going to be, I wouldn't say a handicap because he's still going to produce, but I could have used that money elsewhere instead of having just mediocre production from him. So it's something to consider. You're going to want to only offer these type of contracts to generally younger players that you know will be in the league for that long and that will be in their prime. So like someone like I don't know, Josh Allen, I think is about to turn 29 to 30 years old. Quarterbacks usually last longer, so offering him a 5-year deal after this year, that makes sense. Someone like Derrick Henry, that does not make sense. He's 31 years old, I think, this year. So the next contract you want to offer him, maybe you only want to offer him a 2-year or a 3-year contract at the very most. Someone like Christian McCaffrey, same thing. I got him this year. He's I think 28 or 29. So I'm banking that he at least produces until he's 31, 32. If not, he's going to be someone on my team that doesn't pay produce for what I'm paying for. And now on the flip side, you want to make sure there's players that you don't sign. Someone that gets injured all the time, like a J.K. Dobbins. I got him right here on my team, but at least he's only $5, and I only got him for a couple of years, so that's not too bad. Someone like, let's say, Tua. Tua is very risky. Like, do you want to sign him long term? Maybe you want to sign him year by year. Obviously, your league mates will facilitate that decision depending on how they bid on him as well. And then there's players that are boom or bust. Like, do you want to sign a Jameson Williams to a long-term deal? Like, this guy produces 1 week and disappears the next. So that's something to consider about. Like someone some people have high values on a player. Let's say like Zay Flowers. Some people one of my guys signed him, I think, to like $20 for 5 years in one of our leagues. I don't think he's worth $20. Like, the guy has never been a wide receiver one. They signed him like a wide receiver one, but he's never produced like that. He's on an offense that scores a lot, but is mostly a running offense. So what is it going to be like in 5 years? You have no idea. So that's the type of player that you sign year by year. Maybe give him a 2-year deal, and don't sign him like a number one. So identifying the types of players that you want to sign long term is crucial in a contract league, because if you sign bad contracts, you're not going to do well. Just FYI. So after that, something trading, I think, would be maybe the next thing we could talk about. Trading in contract leagues is probably the most fun thing about them. Contracts, forced trades, like, you have no idea. Salary caps. That's the thing about salary cap leagues, is that it really makes you make moves. Depending on the situations that happen in the NFL, some players become obsolete, and then you have to move them to make room for other players to come in. And it's easier said than done, because sometimes players don't want these players. And like, I had Russell Wilson. No one wanted him. I had to eat a huge part of his salary just to move him. So as you can see here, I got a $34 penalty just for trading him. So it's something to consider when making trades. One of the positive things in a salary cap league, though, is you can add conditions to trades. Like, we use the Google Sheets to track it, so it's easy. You can just say, oh, if this player only plays, let's say, X amount of games, pick X becomes pick Y. Like, I did that with Christian McCaffrey in my other league last year. I think the condition was if he played 5 games. If you played 5 games, I get nothing back. But if you played less than 5 games, I get my second round pick back. And then I think he only played 3 or 4, so I ended up getting my second round pick back in that deal. So stuff like that's pretty cool. And it adds a different level to the strategy, and you can really manipulate that in your favor, especially if you have league mates that don't exactly follow, I guess, fantasy super well. But it's something to take into account. And then planning for the future is pretty important, I would say, as well. You want to maybe try to predict trends. Like, obviously you don't have a crystal ball, so you're not going to be able to predict everything. But if you can have a general plan on maybe which players will become free agents in the following years that you might want to go on, which rookies you're going to maybe keep on the rookie bench this year, but promote for next year to be on your active roster, that goes a long way. I think it'll definitely help you like go in the right direction, and if you're planning and other teams are not, you're gonna have the advantage. So it's definitely something I would recommend. And knowing the rules too is quite important. When I joined right away, like I knew that quarterbacks got a 0.5 per completion, but I didn't realize how much of an impact that really was until after playing the first few weeks and seeing quarterbacks score a ridiculous amount of points. So I had to adjust, and once I adjusted, things started going well. So that's why you can see here I drafted Josh Allen. Well, not drafted, but signed Josh Allen. He's a league winner, so I did everything in my power to get him. I had to overbid to get him, but I got him. So if there's anything else that I'm missing, maybe write it down in the comments. I'll take a look at it. Maybe I can make a dedicated video for one of these, I guess you could say, categories or topics. If you guys have more questions about it, feel free to leave me a question in the comments. Like and subscribe. It'll help the channel a bunch. If you guys want to get on with one of these leagues, I know I keep saying it every video, but I'd love to get into a league with some subscribers. And there's more videos to come, guys. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.